Welcome to the Ultra World Podcast, the soccer fan's voice from the stands, with your hosts, Marc and Sean Castles, coming to you from Radio Waves Studios in New York City. Now, let's kick off the show.
Well, hi again, everybody. I am Marc and Sean Castles is alongside as usual, and he's going to sound a lot better than I do because he, unlike I, not fighting this upper respiratory or who knows what this is.
Flu,
it could
whatever.
Be bronchitis. It's definitely not the flu, knock on wood. But we're going to talk as we spin the Ultra Wheel once again today about Chelsea.
Chelsea, London team, Big Six. They're winners. I mean, it's hard to not compare them to the Yankees. Over 30 championships, Mark, including 6 Premier League titles, 8 FA Cups, 5 League Cups, 2 UEFA Champions League titles, 2 Europa League titles, 2 back in the days, the Cup Winter Cups, 2 UEFA Super Cups, a Conference League, and then just like this last year, 2 FIFA Club World Cups, which they just won back here in the States this past July.
And as we sit here on the first Monday of 2026, they are 5th on the table in the Premier League. Not good enough to save the job of their manager, Enzo Maresca.
Which makes me feel kind of bad because I like Enzo, and it's kind of because I look a little bit like him. He's got the shaved head, the light beard, very handsome gentleman, Enzo Maresca, so I hope he finds another job.
And if he needs to fill in for you as a stunt double,
that's
the
right.
last moment, we know he's available.
In my
Maybe
next,
zoom in.
In my next action or Marvel movie, I will call Enzo and say, listen, I need you to stand in for my stunt double for when I'm doing scenes with Thor.
Real quick, by the way, before we get into the whole Chelsea thing, it's been a weird time this just last week since Christmas for managers everywhere, right? We found out this morning, and again, it's January the 5th.
Ruben Amorim
out with Man U. And in the Cummings department, I love this one. Guy from North Jersey, Bergen County, Pellegrino Matarazzo, was just recently named the new manager of Real Sociedad in La Liga.
It's very exciting, and actually, they just tied Atletico Madrid last Sunday. So a big tie for them, a big game. This is big for American sports.
But very cool to have a North Jersey guy now on the world stage.
The world stage in Spanish league, one of the biggest leagues out there, La Liga, which we love, and later on we'll get into there, but you go, Matarazzo.
One last thing before we get into Chelsea. The Red Bulls, at the moment we're recording this, are introducing Michael Bradley as their new head coach. More
Really?
American blood as MLS has a change.
I'm gonna have to ask Scott Tejarian if there was some kind of transit going on for making manager changes, some kind of thing in the stars there. But I'll ask him later.
All right, let's talk Blues. We had a lot of fun chatting at Legends on 33rd Street.
It was SantaCon. I got to throw that.
That's right. It was SantaCon Day.
We went to the Football Factory at Legends to see Everton-Chelsea. It was great early in the morning. Mark and I had a solid breakfast to start off the day. The crowd started up sparse and grew. It was a great day. It was a Chelsea win.
You know, it was funny. I was bellied up to the bar even before you walked in, and I didn't realize how many people were starting to assemble behind me. And then when you walked in and texted me to say I'm here, I turned around and it was a sea of people downstairs.
I couldn't find you. You said I'm at the bar, and the bar was packed, and he's the only person sitting down. So we sat there with our English breakfasts and filled our gobs.
Oh, it was so good.
It was really good. It was really, and very affordable. I gotta say, great price for a New York breakfast. Usually it's like $30 for something, 25. Very affordable. If you get to Legends Football Factory early, highly recommend the breakfast. You know, and I also got a chance to go see Chelsea blow out West Ham in August as well. So we have some interviews from that as well. It was shortly after they won the Club World Cup Championship. So I only stayed upstairs at that game there. I didn't dive around, but it was definitely much warmer out in August.
Yeah, August and September, much warmer than we're getting lately, yeah.
It was a brisk day. The biggest theme that came out of all the interviews we've done is Chelsea are winners. International acclaim. They have the top talent. They have tremendous athletes, tremendous players, a long history of great players. to kind of relate it a little bit to American sports, they used to have an owner called Roman Abramovich, who is the owner of Chelsea. He was removed, because he was Russian. He was a Russian oligarch, and the UK decided to kick him out. But before that, he was the owner of the Chelsea club, and he put his money where his mouth was. They won a lot under him.
Yeah.
He put money towards talent. So I will say, no matter what, Chelsea goes after the best players. If you want to be a Chelsea fan, you're going to see some of the top talent.
And you mentioned the Yankees. It is very much like the Yankees here in the States of Major League Baseball. Absolutely.
I will say the George Steinbrenner Yankees. I'm going to start calling it the George Steinbrenner Yankees because I've learned that his sons don't really care about
the
team
Hal
very much.
Steinbrenner Yankees don't quite have the same catch.
They don't. They're cashing those checks out in Saratoga Springs, and that's about it. But like when we talk to the other teams, many people are born into Chelsea-dom, just like Tom Carey, who I spoke with. His family gave him the gift of a jersey. That was Noah I spoke to. And some just couldn't find anything else to watch abroad, like Erwin. So let's hear from them on how they became Chelsea fans.
We're outside Legends Football Factory in the shadow of the Empire State Building. Chelsea-Everton Day. I'm talking to a Chelsea Ultra fan named
Erwin.
Erwin. Where are you from?
From the Netherlands.
You're from the Netherlands?
Yep.
Okay, so you've got plenty of teams in your own country.
Well, I only got one.
That you could be rooting for.
Yes, I got one.
Why Chelsea?
A long time ago, in 2003, I left my country and I went for Ivory Coast in Africa. And I had the choice between the Ligue 1, the French league, or the Premier League. And I chose the Premier League. And Chelsea at the time was putting up football like my home team Feyenoord from Rotterdam, which it's not always pretty, but they always fought with heart. And that's what I respect. So that's when I joined the Chelsea bandwagon, basically. So I've passed Chelsea membership over 20 years now.
Tom, what team are you a fan of and why?
I'm a fan of Chelsea Football Club. I've always been a fan. My dad is a big supporter, so I grew up supporting them.
And if I, as an American trying to get into soccer, why should I become a fan of Chelsea?
The history, we're known for winning. We're a big team. We love Europe. We love England. We win. We come hot and cold, but we win championships. So.
And what would you say defines Chelsea fandom? What characteristics make up the fan base?
Very loyal. Very passionate about where Chelsea is actually based in West London. It's just a really good family club.
And Noah, what team are you a fan of and why?
I'm a Chelsea fan. Became a Chelsea fan at 4 years old. My cousin was studying abroad in the UK and brought me back a Michael Ballack jersey as I've been gone, here's the thing. And the rest is history.
And what does match day look like for you?
Right here, Legends Football Factory.
And do you come like every game or every?
I'd say 90% of games. This season, 100% of games.
And what's the atmosphere like for people who would want to come down to Legends and watch the game?
It's incredible. Soccer is just such a better sport to watch with
like a
people
rock
around.
concert.
It's just fun. It's more like if you go to a game in person, if you're on the train to a game, if you're at a bar watching the game with folks, it's just completely different from any other sport because everybody knows everything. There's nobody here casually. Everybody gets really excited. It's great.
One of our favorite themes to talk on this podcast is finding new friends, finding your football family. And that kind of has been happening here with the Chelsea supporter group here in New York City. Ken Barry has been coming to Legends for over a decade. And no matter where he is, he's coming in and he's enjoying and meeting his football family there. We also had another little thing that keeps popping up is that a lot of people get into soccer because of the FIFA video game. David, who I spoke with, that was what got him into soccer, and he was winning with Chelsea as the FIFA team. But it was the recognition of when he went out in a Chelsea jersey and found his football family that really solidified his journey into Chelsea fandom.
How long have you been a fan of the team?
I've been a Chelsea fan since I was 10, so we're looking at 25 years now.
What was it that drew you to them in your formative years?
Very simple. My best friends we used to play FIFA, and they would always choose Barcelona or Real Madrid, and I would always lose. And then one day I chose Chelsea, and I started winning. And, as you grow older, you start looking into it, and, when I was 18, New York Red Bulls opened in my own town, the New York Arena. Santos played, but as I was walking around, the ground, I think I had my Oscar shirt on, and some guys approached me. He's like, "Hey, like, you should come to this bar. You should join us in New York." And I'm like, "I'm too young, but give me 3 years, and I'm right there." And little did I know, when I was 21, I came here, and I've been here ever since.
For the fan who's looking to decide what team to root for, in your estimation, why Chelsea?
Why Chelsea? It's a passion. If you're here because you love it. I have personally shed tears of joy and of sadness when we've lost against Barcelona with Iniesta. Like, I remember that day like it was yesterday. I remember winning our first Champions League like it was yesterday. And more importantly, from a personal perspective, these friendships I've made will probably last my entire life.
How long have you been a fan of the Blues?
Fan of the Blues, I'd have to say that started around 2010. Out in Long Island, I had friends who got into soccer, being American football, as you know, American football is truly the case. But my American football friends were also into soccer. He was an Everton fan, funny enough. We're playing them today because of Tim Howard. And he used to hold FIFA tournaments. And I knew nothing about European football in general, or world football as it's called. And the only team I used to be able to score with was, funny enough, Chelsea. Frank Lampard cross, Drogba header, the easiest way to score. So I was like, I guess I'm a fan of this team now. So, following the team initially around 2010, not knowing the history, and then eventually winning the Champions League, not realizing that's a huge achievement. And also from New York, realizing I'm also a Jets fan, unfortunately. So understanding how big a first Champions League was, like being a fan from around the world. It's like, hey, I'm a Jets, and the Jets win the Super Bowl next year. You don't realize how big that is. But then after that, got more and more into it. And then after graduating university, 2016, I'm, able to watch every single game, and it's been die hard ever since.
Listening to these guys, we heard a lot about Chelsea greats. You hear Frank Lampard, you hear Oscar. Chelsea tends to get their first pick of players in the transfer market. They are always up against Manchester United and lately Liverpool and Manchester City. But they really have top talent. They have Caicedo and Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez. This summer, when they were doing the Club World Cup, they said, you know what, let's just add João Pedro. So they are a traveling all-star team. I believe actually they are so deep that they had one squad for the Europe competition and one squad for the Premier League squad. So they put their money where their mouth is. I asked Tom Carey just about who were some of the players that fans who want to get into Chelsea should know.
And who's your favorite player?
Of all time, or
Of all time. Of all
time, I gotta say Eden Hazard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who's a deep cut fan, or deep cut player that only really true Chelsea fans would know, but you guys love?
John Terry, one-man club. He played with one team. That was all he played for. He's the biggest legend in Chelsea.
And Sean, I don't know about you, but for me, my personal favorite, Chelsea, all time, the keeper, Peter Cech. And a lot of it had to do with that funky helmet of his.
Okay. I didn't know that there was ever a soccer player or a football player that wore a helmet. You need to describe this helmet to me.
Well, it's a soft helmet. It almost looks like one of the old 1920s NFL helmets. It's not your usual football helmet or a batting helmet that you see Major League Baseball players wearing, but it kind of reminded me of John Olerud, who used to wear a helmet in the field to protect against an aneurysm. Peter Cech had suffered so many head injuries, I guess, in his younger days that he started wearing this soft helmet that, God forbid, he has another conch on the coconut, either with an opposing player or with the goalposts or the crossbar. You have to be sure to protect yourself.
Absolutely. I apologize to Peter Cech and anyone who thinks I was making fun of. It's just something I had never seen before. I find that fascinating. I'm going to switch to another player here, Didier Drogba, who is a big reason many people like Chelsea. For a little background, Didier Drogba was Ivory Coast captain. He's the all-time scorer for Ivory Coast being the nation and a great World Cup team. They usually make it. He was the first African player to score 100 goals in the Premier League. He's considered the most celebrated African player in history. Some people actually credit Didier Drogba with helping stop the Ivory Coast Civil War. In 2005, after they qualified for the World Cup, he gathered all his teammates together and on national television begged both sides to lay their arms down and unite. I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible. This is an incredible man.
Somebody deserving of a Nobel Peace Prize.
That is absolutely. They didn't have the FIFA Peace Prize at that time.
That's why I didn't even bring it up.
But I want to hear a little bit from Adam Broadstein and Erwin here about the brilliance that is Didier Drogba.
And Adam, what team are you a fan of and why?
Chelsea Football Club, and initially because of Didier Drogba.
And what is it about Didier Drogba that you love?
Initially it was the hair. I was a massive fan of Kobe Jones. They weren't really showing anything but the MLS in America. Chelsea and United were really good at the time. Chelsea came to America to do an all-star game. I knew Jones was on the way out. I saw Drogba. I thought his hair was really cool, and I was like, that's my new favorite player.
Have you had a chance to see them play in person?
Yes, that was a long time ago. I think in 2006 I went to the Bridge, and then later to the big stadium where we played for the Community Shield against Manchester United, and we won both games. This was in the Drogba era. Loved it.
Who's been your favorite player over the years?
Didier Drogba. But if you go back, there's really so many, but Didier Drogba for me really stood out because he was just a complete player, really.
And Sean, while we were listening to the guys talk about Didier Drogba, I looked up Peter Cech's history of head injury, and apparently he suffered a fairly significant concussion back in 2006, forced him out of action for about 3 months, and ever since that happened, he wore, I guess what they officially call a rugby helmet.
Okay, now I feel a little bit guilty about laughing because
that
is a serious matter there. So I'm going to switch tacks here, and we're going to talk about what match day looked like because I talked to Adam Broadstein, and he just kind of gave me what does his match day look like.
For you, what does match day look like? Do you have any rituals? Are you working up to the week? Is like everything based on match day?
Yeah. I would say, I stay informed throughout the week. I watch the interviews and stuff. But really on match day, I'm if I'm in New York, I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna look at the news of who's injured, who's probably gonna play. The team news comes out about an hour in advance. You see that. I like to get to the bar probably about an hour early. Talk with friends. Typically, I like to get a seat. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. And then you kind of talk about how we've been playing. What to expect, but it's really nice because, as a massive Chelsea fan, I really want to talk about Chelsea all the time. A lot of people in America don't, so you come to places like this and you get the opportunity to, and it's awesome.
But you find your family group, you find your friends.
100%. So, like I said, I've been coming here since 2018. The bartenders here know my mom, dad, brother, my brother's wife, my fiance, all of their names, first and last. Like, how's your mother doing? Alex, one of the tall, older guys here. I realize we're on a podcast. That'll mean nothing to a lot of these people, but he's one of the guys here. Meets my dad at the Champions League final and puts a scarf around him. We still have that scarf. We have a trophy room in our house from when we were kids and stuff like that. We put that in there. It's really meaningful to us, and things like that happen a lot here. And you make some incredible memories, meet some great friends, and even when you lose, you're still having a good time because of the people around you.
And of course, it's not just the Chelsea fans who descend on legends, which, by the way, is quite literally in the shadow of the Empire State Building. It's across the street on 33rd. But they call it the Football Factory for a reason, Mr. Castles, and that's because there are a ton of supporters groups that call that place home.
That's right. It's a rainbow of supporter groups that are there because while we were there for Chelsea, I believe that Dortmund was there as well. The Fulham supporter group came afterwards. It was just a wide mix of teams. And I got to say, I was surprised at how congenial was.
I was going to say orderly.
Orderly's a better way.
The hour of the morning could have had something to do with that. And it was Santa Con Day, but it was before those festivities really ramped up too.
I'm going to paint the picture that there were just like red hats everywhere. There were a few Santa outfits. And although it was really only like 11 in the morning, there was definitely a lot of loud drunkenness that has already started. I can't imagine what it looked like.
It was in the air. You could feel it coming.
It wasn't just in the bar. You could feel Santa Con in the street. Santa Con is its own thing. But lots of teams claim Legends as their hangout spot. I have to give a shout out to Jack Keane and his family, who have really built a unique soccer experience. So while I haven't had a chance to talk to Jack, they really run a great show there, and all the supporter groups love them. All the supporter groups have nothing but high praise to give for Jack and the team there. They know all the bartenders and bartendresses. They actually sing songs to them because they're part of the show. They're part of the fun of going out there. So they got people coming from all over to Match Day at Legends. And I got David and Ken and Erwin and Tom and Adam to give just a quick answer, despite it being so cold out. Do you have a quick answer of what they like about it?
My name is David. It's a cold, wintry December right now, but it's a beautiful day regardless because we're up 2-0 right now.
It's also Santa Con Day here in New York. You're wearing your Chelsea Santa hat. What's the best part of being a Chelsea Blues fan?
Honestly, it's being in New York and becoming a regular here. If you're ever here at Legends, if you ever get a chance to come to New York, join us for any match day. You will find a few of us, if not most of us, any game. You're always welcome. We love when people say, hey, I'm from Charlotte. It's my first time here. I'm like, we will talk to you. We will give you as much as New York advice that we can give you, where to go, where to do this, where to do that, best deals. But first, the Chelsea game.
How long have you been coming here to the Football Factory to watch your team?
So I've been coming here, Football Factory, probably 4 years now. A friend through another podcast from London came over here for work, and then he was looking around during the meantime and found this bar. And funny enough, I've been around the area, but I've never came into the city to see a Chelsea game. And then he made friends here, and I was like going to watch. We've watched a couple cup finals until he made friends with the supporters group here, and in turn, I've also made friends and become well embedded.
Yeah. Talk to me about the game day, the match day experience here at Legends Football Factory.
All right. So what I really like is that it's a complete European football experience. So there's no other sports there. There's no other memorabilia. There's all the memorabilia are from European football teams, and that creates a certain atmosphere. And the people who come here come to enjoy the game, and they respect each other's banter. So there's never any harsh words or anything. There's just the fun of it and the general sense of enjoying the beautiful game.
I'm assuming you watch as many games as possible. What does match day look like for you?
Match day is pretty. I love coming to Legends. I love coming and getting the buzz of the fans. Obviously, it's not the same as being in the stadium, but it's just as good here because we sing the songs and we support the club.
And how long have you been coming to Legends and the Football Factory to watch games?
I've been coming to Legends since 2018.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
For a while.
And what does match day look like here?
It depends on the time of the kickoff. Those 12:30 in England kickoffs can be brutal here. Depends who we're playing. Let's call it 10 a.m. game against top 6 club. You probably want to get here pretty early. There's going to be a really crowded bar. 7:30 against the top 6, still be fairly crowded, not as bad. 12:30 against any club is going to be slammed. But lots of same faces that you see if you come for a while. Lots of friendly people. Turned into a little bit of an extended family where, we all went to the Club World Cup together. We've gone to London together. We get tickets for each other. We meet each other's friends and family and wives and fiancés. It's really cool here.
So you didn't expect that as you got into soccer. What did you get when you initially got into soccer? What did you expect? And then what was the better parts that came out of it?
Well, so I've been playing soccer my whole life since I was a kid. So I didn't really expect much. I just wanted to just keep playing and, make it as far as I could. Played in college and decided I knew I wasn't going to make it further than that. So decided to focus on an education instead and become a fan. But now, as Chelsea fans, you do have an expectation of winning. Even if maybe that's not the right way to say it. There's the pressure to win. Sometimes you're like, we're not good enough to be, maybe challenging for the Premier League right now. But the expectation is that like we're going to go out and battle every game, and like we should come out on top most of the time. And that's kind of because of the history of Chelsea Football Club.
So speaking of history and speaking of fandom, because you've been to the games out there, you've been a fan for a while. Give me a few adjectives to describe Chelsea fans. Take your time.
Arrogant is one for sure. Welcoming of other Chelsea fans. Banter. Shithouse to other teams. And extremely, extremely biased towards Chelsea Football Club.
And yeah, it really was cold on SantaCon morning. It's interesting. My first appearance at Legends was the day the Club World Cup competition started, and that place had been taken over, we've heard from them before, by the Fluminense supporters. They were pillar to post, and it wasn't even on a match day for them. It was the day before their opener in the Club World Cup at MetLife Stadium, and wall to wall with the striped jerseys that kind of look like a cross between barber poles and some kind of Skittles. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Like a bowl of Skittles.
Yeah, a bowl of Skittles in a stripe
Actually, you know
bowl.
what? No, better than that. Juicy fruit gum.
Ooh, I do love me some
Those
Juicy
jerseys
Fruit.
look like juicy fruit gum.
That's a good reference that the young kids may not get, but Juicy Fruit was definitely my favorite.
Yeah, look it up. Go to Wrigley's website and look up Juicy Fruit.
And you'll see the Fluminense colors.
That's what
there.
they look like. I have a couple on order, by the way. I'll bring you one.
All right, nice. Because I will say the Football Factory is really big. So when you're saying it's wall to wall, that is a lot of people. It is probably the biggest of the bars.
And there's the upstairs and downstairs, too.
It's
That's
huge.
crazy.
It's a huge place. It's two giant bars on top of each other with a staircase in between. But, we had the Club World Cup pass through New York. Chelsea were the big winners at MetLife. MetLife, home of the Jets and Giants, so at least they finally got to see a winner there.
Yeah, several
Winners there. So we asked Ken here. We got Ken Berry, and I asked him how the atmosphere differs between the sports. Because, hey, he's seen the MetLife games with the Jets and Giants, and he's also seen what it's like seeing a Club World Cup. So you got a chance to talk to him. Let's hear what he has to say.
And we really know, you as a Jet fan, me as a Giant fan, we understand the pain and suffering part, at least for the last few years with the Giants. Listen, I've got 4 Super Bowl trophies I can look at.
I thank you for your job against the Patriots.
Yeah, you're welcome. But my point is, even as diehard as the fans can be at MetLife and before that Giant Stadium, the tailgating situation doesn't quite measure up to the ultra fandom in soccer.
Correct. When you're in the stands, I've been to Jets games. Unfortunately, I went to the butt fumble game on Thanksgiving. Painful. When I'm in the, all we have is JETS, Jets. When I'm in the stands, I've been to the Club World Cup over the summer, singing the chants. As you heard, I was definitely, before I met you, shouting in your, I'm sure, sitting in the stands, leading the chants, all the different songs coming up, having a pint with your mates. There's nothing like it. Tailgating, like I said, is the closest, but when you're in the game, watching the game, it's undescribable almost.
And Sean, it was so cold that morning that I honestly don't remember him telling me his name was Ken Berry, because I'm fairly certain I would have come up with an F-Troop joke or two.
We may need to tell the young listeners what F-Troop is.
Yeah, it's on MeTV. You can find anything now. All
Nick
the
at
old
Night.
shows are somewhere.
Does Nick at Night even occur anymore? Is it now?
Oh, no,
it's probably
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But instead of MASH now, they have Seinfeld there, the things that make it.
See, there's
makes you
another
feel
one,
old.
MASH. Like, how many of the younger demo know what MASH was?
No idea. I mean, I only know because it's young.
Seinfeld is almost on the fringe at this point. Yeah, that's how old we are.
I feel so old there. Bonanza's the one that usually pops in my head.
That's definitely on MeTV. I see that a couple of times a week. I'll flip past it, and some of the other detective shows that we remember so well, Columbo, The Rockford Files, all of that. And of course, The Rockford Files came up when I ran into the Everton people over the summer because James Garner is one of their star players, and obviously James Garner was the name of the actor who played Jim Rockford on The Rockford Files. Anyway, and as I learned very recently, not at all related to Jennifer Garner, and I thought for whatever reason that they were father and daughter, but
There's
anyway,
a good reason to think that. Okay,
whatever, yeah. Different topic. We're going to talk now a little bit about the game day experience at Stamford Bridge.
That's right. Stamford Bridge Stadium, which was not named after this. It was not anything to do with it, but I don't think you knew this. Stamford Bridge is the site of an epic battle, a really epic battle that happened in 1066 between King Harold Godwinson and the King of Norway, considered the last Viking, Harold Hardrada. It was a really important moment in history. It was just before the battle.
I remember it well, 1066. Right before I jotted down the Magna Carta.
That happened a little bit after there. But for those listening that do love history, Harold Hardrada is considered the last Viking. And as a sweet person of Swedish descent, I love Harold. This is the battle, his final battle that he lost. And you know what? Harold Godwinson's own brother, his name is Tostig, teamed up with Harold Hardrada to attack Harold Godwinson because he didn't get what he wanted. So it was a brother-on-brother war as well.
Was that the Battle of Hastings?
The Battle of Hastings after. Battle of Hastings after is William the Conqueror coming over to England, and Harold Godwinson has to rush over there.
I remembered the Godwinson thing.
That's
where, yeah.
And honestly, if anyone likes the series Vikings, the second series Vikings does touch on Harold Godwinson.
Fan of Hagar the Horrible. That was me, yeah.
Hagar the Horrible. Harold Hardrada.
Hagar?
Hagar.
Is it Hagar or Hagar?
I'm going to say Hagar just so it doesn't sound like Sammy Hagar. I'm just going to say that.
Some people would say Sammy Hagar was horrible, taking over for David Lee Roth with Van Halen. But again, we digress.
We digress. So now we're going to talk to you guys. We're going to listen here from Tom and David and Adam a little bit about the Stamford Bridge Stadium experience.
Excellent. And do you get a chance to go to any of the games? If so, when?
I've been to quite a lot. I used to live in London, so I used to go pretty much every 2 weeks. European games during the week. I was a season ticket holder, so yeah, I got the games, but recently I haven't been in about 2 years.
So did you make any of the Club Cup games?
I was at the Champions League in Portugal in I can't think of the year now, but yeah, when we beat Man City, I was at the game. Yeah,
great fucking game.
Yeah.
And have you had a chance to visit them at the bridge?
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, my first game was Chelsea against Liverpool at home, and we lost. And N'Golo Kante scored a beautiful goal, but we lost. And I've decided that I can't go see a Chelsea-Liverpool game ever again because of that superstition. My last game was actually Real Madrid before the pandemic at Madrid, and I love doing away games. If you're a Chelsea fan, you can do away games in the away section. It is one of the best things. I've met so many people who even now text me on Tuesdays like, hey, are you in Italy? I'm like, no, I'm at home. It's like, oh, because we expected to see you for this away game in Atalanta. So, it's when you become part of it and you're in it, people will reach out to you, people will look for you, and it becomes sort of a family, if you will.
And you said you've been to England and you've gone to some of the games there. What are the games? What is match day like in London?
It's awesome. So, you go in and in America, no one really hangs out in the stands. You kind of or in the tunnels. You're kind of just there to get food, drinks. You do everything in the seats. Well, in England, you can't drink in the stands, so everyone's drinking in the tunnels. And you're singing songs, you're meeting people, you're getting to know new faces, and that's really cool. And then, basically, it's just a mass entrance into the stadium right before kickoff, a mass exit right at halftime so you can get your beers, and then you repeat again for the second half. And then afterwards, depending on how the team does, people are happy in the streets, they're annoyed in the streets, they're doing things like this in the streets, they're going to bars, going to pubs, singing songs. So it's really fun. It's a really cool experience. It's really different than really anything in America that we have.
And Sean, we have tailgating here in the States that they don't have at a lot of soccer venues internationally, although Yankee Stadium, not exactly the tailgating mecca of the sports world, but it can be fun before and after games.
It can be. Tailgating is a very unique American thing because we are awesome at building parking lots. We are really good at building parking lots. I don't think I've seen many parking lots at European soccer stadiums, but we put up a parking lot.
Thank you, Joni Mitchell.
Thank you. So,
Pave paradise. And put up a parking lot.
Put up a parking lot there. If you put up a parking lot, you got to brand it American. So we asked them all, why should you be a Chelsea fan? And what came back from most of them was winning. You know, that it's a great club, that it's winning, a historic team. So, yes, it is like going to the Yankees, maybe even a little bit like the Red Sox. One of our commenters mentioned earlier a little bit of arrogance that comes with the Chelsea team. You know, it can be a little intimidating at first. Actually, when I went to the Legends Factory before in August, it was a little intimidating approaching people. Everyone had their chest puffed out. They had just won the Club World Cup. It didn't feel it. There was a lot of celebrating and a lot of rambunctiousness, so I was a little scared at first. But Erwin would disagree and tell me that Chelsea is a football family for everyone, even though Adam, who we hear to as well, admits that Chelsea fandom's not for all. So let's hear from them.
All right, so what we're talking to fans about, obviously, is who they're fans of. We covered that. Most important question is, why would anyone who's listening to this want to be a fan of the Chelsea Blues?
Oh, man, so many reasons, not enough time. I love the history, being in, the team being in Southwest London, everything about it. Me personally being from New York and London, similar cities. Just being a fan of the, I will say as an American, the soccer culture is so much different. The closest, if you're listening from outside the United States, would have to be like listening within the United States, but the closest would be college football. And, how it's camaraderie and it's with the different fans and the chants singing, and you really feel like you're part of the community.
One of the key questions we're asking the Ultra fans is why, if you're recruiting other people to come root for your club, why Chelsea? What's the best part of being a Chelsea fan?
The sense of community. Because I came here a year and a half ago and I love, European football and I love Chelsea. So I looked online, where could I watch this? And then I found the New York Blues. And my first day here, I felt I was coming home. And I've never not missed a game. So it's just fantastic. I mean, the Chelsea community is very warm, very welcoming, and just lovely.
If I was to pick a team, why should regular casual fans pick Chelsea?
Chelsea's going to be great for the next 10 years. The kids last season tried to figure it out, gelling together. This season, more attack up front, more people who's going to put goals in. Kids are going to figure it out.
And who is Chelsea's biggest rival, and why should I not be a fan of that team?
There's no rivals. Nobody compares. We don't talk down on everybody else in the kiddie league.
If someone's just getting into soccer and they're trying to pick their team, why should they pick Chelsea?
Well, look, I love Chelsea, but I don't necessarily think Chelsea's the best club for everyone. It's like, if you're from Boston, you probably hate New York. And if you're from New York, you probably hate Boston. So I think there's like give and take a little bit. Like I love Chelsea Football Club. I have for a while. But one of my best friends who's getting into it, he's a Pittsburgh Steeler, and he decided to be a Nottingham Forest fan. I thought that was a lot better fit for him than Chelsea because, Pittsburgh, Nottingham, a little bit similar in like industrial times, teams that have really big history have not been as great as of recent, but the fans really, really care. So I think it's more about finding like what you assimilate with as an individual, and then you can pick your team from there. Because there's so many different clubs, so many different features of each club. It's not just about chasing titles, because at the end of the day, like it's promotion and relegation versus like first round picks. So at the end of the season, it's more intense. So at the end of the season, you're desperate for your team to get those points or to get any sort of point. Versus in America, you're cheering for your team to lose, and like that's not fun, honestly. Like you don't want to go. The stadiums are empty. Meanwhile, you see teams a couple of years ago, Nottingham Forest, on the last day of the season, saved themselves from relegation. The next year, they played really well. You saw Aston Villa get relegated. Now they're playing really well. Newcastle bounces up and down out of the Champions League. You have Leicester win the Prem. A couple of years later, they get relegated. So it's it's just so much more. Every game really genuinely matters in the Premier League, which is really cool because there's no league like that in America where truly every game matters. You rest players here, you sit players here for overload and stuff. Like, yeah, we rotate, but like if you lose, like you get fired, you could get relegated. So it means a lot more.
And right on cue, Mr. Castles, speaking of fired, we mentioned at the outset that Enzo Maresca was very recently granted his pink slip by the Chelsea Blues.
And Enzo, give me a call. I got a call from Marvel. I could use a stunt double, so I'm ready for you. You know, Mark, every team has a rival or a team that they want to beat most. For Chelsea, there's a lot.
Yeah.
You got every London team, Tottenham, Arsenal, Fulham. Most of the people were straightforward with their thoughts, but Adam Brostein pointed out a team of Chelsea's stature, their real rivals are across the channel.
Going to go on a darker side. Who is Chelsea's rival, and why should I not be a fan of them?
Pretty much anybody else in London. Spurs is definitely our big rival, but they don't win, so we don't really mind them too much.
And what would you say, how would you describe a Spurs fan?
Difficult question. They're very used to losing games. They've only won one cup, and that was last season, so we're a lot ahead of them. So.
All right, I'm going to go a little darker here. Who is Chelsea's biggest rival, and why should I not be a fan of them?
Look, like, the reality is like, probably our biggest rival in the Prem would, maybe a lot of people won't like this, but it probably is Fulham, but we're probably not Fulham's biggest rival. Maybe people will say Arsenal or Tottenham, but we're not their biggest rivals. They're each other's biggest rivals. For me, I hate Barcelona. I know, like, we don't play them enough. Messi's quoted saying they hated Chelsea more than Real Madrid when they were there. I hate them. They cheat. They pay the rest. I hate them. I think there's a lot of Chelsea fans that would agree with me on that sentiment, so I'll go with Barcelona.
And Sean, I know you and Adam dug a little bit deeper on this, and we haven't really touched on, but we will, I promise, as this podcast progresses, the continental European teams. We'll definitely get into those. And, of course, with that, the Champions League.
That's right. You know, Adam Brostein pointed out that Chelsea is at such a level, and you could say the same about Arsenal, you could say the same about Liverpool and Manchester City. They're at such a level that their rivals start becoming the other top teams in La Liga and Serie A, the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, the Inter Milans, the Bayern Munichs. Those start becoming, because, you know, they are so used to going to Europe, which is its own league. The Champions League is its own league. Then he also got into a little bit about the ticket price. But I'm going to let Adam talk about the Champions League.
I love it. I love going over to La Liga and going to the Champions League. And that's also, when you get to a certain echelons, upper echelons, you start looking at the big sixes of other groups too there. So you guys, you probably care a lot about the Champions League. Do you go out to the Champions League games as well, or do you stick to just the Premier League?
It's a really sensitive subject. One of my buddies lives in London, has season tickets. I go visit him all the time. He was supposed to take me to the Chelsea-Barcelona game, and he's season tickets, so your first right to refusal to get all of the cup games, and he forgot to get the Barcelona game. And I looked up the ticket price, they're like $1,000. I would have gone for face value, so I'm still, Emil Hannesbo, if you're hearing this, I'm still mad at you, but I am grateful you took me to all the other games.
And Sean, speaking of the Yankees, the ticket prices at the new stadium, much different than what we were used to at the old stadium. I used to get in literally $5, upper deck, last 5 rows were general admissions, sit wherever you want. I always gravitated to behind home plate. To me, that was the best view, never knowing that I would actually spend a lot of time in the press box right behind home plate back in the day. Now they've got us situated more either up the third base line or up the first base line. The primo press box seats are usually reserved for the TV and radio crews.
Sons of bitches.
But you know what? I mean, it's like that everywhere, right? We're getting ready to host the World Cup in the Meadowlands in July, and ticket prices even for the opening round games are so ridiculously out of whack with what people have been used to over the years. They're pricing out the everyday fans.
And this is the problem, because in Europe, and I keep hearing this over and over from the Premier League fans, that it's very affordable to go overseas and see a game, whether it's with Brentford or whether it's with Arsenal or going to a Man City game. It is not going to break the bank to go to one of those games. Whereas here in the States, unless it's a really poor team, if it's, in the NBA, it's Charlotte playing Brooklyn, you're going to pay.
Why you knock on my Nets again?
I am a Nets fan too,
man.
But that's one of the bigger problems that America has, is that our sporting events are really expensive, and it's hard. It's like taking out a loan to take a family of 4 to go watch a game. And so that kind of stinks. But I want to digress into here. I had a really fun interview. It was one of the quicker interviews with a very enthusiastic fan, Marc Artis, because while we love having our interviewees wax on poetically and really spill the beans and tell us about their fandom.
I had one recently, was supposed to be a 5-minute spell. We went 38 and a half minutes, and I couldn't get him to shut up, and I'm very happy that he did all the talking. And in fact, he was one, we talked about Tottenham and how the price differences between White Hart Lane and the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, again, are night and day.
Night and day. And I want to say, we want all of you guys giving us sound bites. Send us your thoughts. This is a perfect time, I'd like to say, we want your content. We want you guys to come in and tell us why you were a fan of what team. So please feel free to go to our website, www.ultraworldpodcast.com. You can send us a note and say, I'd like to say this here. You can send us
You want to send us an audio file? That's fine, too.
We'll take it. We'll put it on here. So I want to throw that out to anyone. But I had one of the quicker interviews, but enthusiastic interviews with Marc Artis. This was back in August. So take it away. And what's your favorite team and why?
Chelsea.
And why?
Because they're Chelsea.
How long have you been?
Champions of the world.
There we go. So it's winning. How long have you been a fan?
22 years.
And what got you to become a fan of Chelsea?
Sunday League colleague from West London convinced me to become a Chelsea fan in 1997.
And what does match day look like for you?
Get up,
early morning, have a few pints.
Get to the pub or the comfort of my couch, and yeah.
Do you come to Legends or do you go to like other
occasionally?
bars?
Yeah.
Occasionally.
If I'm going to go out, it's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you been to any games, especially when they come here to New York, or do you go abroad to go to any games?
Went to the Club World Cup semis out in MetLife. Get over to London once or twice a year.
Okay.
A couple games at the Bridge.
And as an agnostic sports fan, why should I become a fan of Chelsea?
Or just, if you want to win trophies, hardware.
That's a good reason. That's a damn good reason. They spend. Chelsea is known to spend. I believe they have currently have one of the deepest rosters. But they used to have an owner named Roman Abramovich, who was forced to sell the team. I don't know if you know much about him, Mark, but he's a Russian oligarch who came in, much like the Brooklyn Nets Prokhorov, but he actually delivered for his team. He bought championships, they would say. Prokhorov tried. He did. He tried for the Nets, but for Chelsea, Roman Abramovich, he certainly spent, and he spent a lot, and they would be known as Chelsea, because the English fans, the Chelsea haters, really, didn't love the Russian oligarch owning the team, if I remember correctly. But he was actually removed from the team a few years ago. But they certainly spend. They are back in the Champions League. They usually expect to always be in there as well. They have a lot of really big names that have passed through there. They usually have a lot of stars, and whether or not they put it together is up in question, because when they're not Spursy, but they have their ups and downs.
And there's that word again, Spursy, that's so Jets. There's no such thing, Mr. Castles, as that's so Chelsea, because they have been so very dominant over such a long period of time.
A strike to my green and white Jets' hearts. That's right. So if I want to get some winning ways, I will decide to become a Chelsea fan, if that's what I want to do. Thanks to all the people who took part in this and interviewed with us. For Marc Renee, I'm Sean Castles. Thanks for listening, guys.
This has been the Ultra World Podcast, the soccer fan's voice from the stands, with your hosts, Marc and Sean Castles. Our executive producer is Sue Zizza. Marc and Sean Castles are co-producers. David Shin is our master engineer. Assistant producer Avery Gehrig, and I'm Alicia Antwine. To be a guest on the Ultra World Podcast or learn all about sponsorship opportunities, send an email to ultraworldpod@gmail.com. Be sure to follow the show on all the social media platforms at Ultra World Pod. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved, Ultra World Podcast, LLC.